to the Pesky Report, a podcast for Red Sox fans. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Pesky Report. This is episode number 190, brought to you by Belly Up Sports Media. My name is Brad Chandler. With me tonight, I have Ryan Brady. How you doing?
Congrats. Big World Series champs, Houston Astros. Congratulations. Very, very well deserved. I'm doing good.
All right. And with that, just asked you how you're doing. I don't know why you went ahead and did the whole congrats and everything, but thanks for that. With us, we have a special guest. We have my buddy. He's been on the show a couple of times. We have Brett H-Town Wheelhouse from Locked On Astros. Dude, how are you doing?
Man, it's funny. I didn't even I drank like maybe a couple pineapple ciders. Like, I don't really drink that much, but I feel so hungover today just from the emotions. And I didn't realize how emotionally drained I was until I'm waiting for my son in his basketball workout. And I totally conked out during like waiting for him to get done with his one-on-one. And he's like, "Dad, are you okay?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I fell asleep. I felt like a homeless guy in a car." Like, I was like, it's insane. Like, leading up to this point here in Houston, we've anticipated this World Series title, I really think, all season, because if you look at what they have and the way this team was built, it was very difficult for me to believe that there was another team out there that could match them. The only question was, when we got to the World Series, what would the National League have for us? And that was our real concern. Our fear wasn't getting out of the AL, but it was what the NL had to offer. And then when it was another NL East team, all you heard was NL East dominates us, NL East this, and Team of Destiny and that. And man, we are still on cloud nine in Houston. We love this, because whether people like it or not, this is World Series title number 2.
It is. You know me, man. I've always been like, screw the whole cheating thing. I'm tired of hearing about it. It's done with. You're never gonna put an asterisk next to that title. They won it. They're the world champions forever and always. Bro, like, what time did you end up getting home? Because you went to the World Series. You went to the game last night.
Yes, my son and I went, and it was a phenomenal experience. You know what's funny is we sat in the very last row in the upper deck, row 419. I mean, section 419. But it was really the best seat in the house because we were right behind home plate. So we got the bird's eye view of Jordan's home run. We got the bird's eye view of just everything happening. And I got home, I guess, about really close to 1 a.m. because I went live with the post-game reaction for myself. Eric was like, "I'm going to bed, dude. I already did the post-game. We stayed for the trophy." But to experience that with my son, it was unreal. And what was funny was that 6th inning, my son looked at me and he said, "Dad, both teams are going to score this inning. The Phillies are going to get something on the board, but the Astros are going to match it, and they're going to have the lead by the end of the 6th inning." And he called it. That was the magical inning right there.
I got to ask you, you've been through 2 now championships here. You've gone through a heck of a lot of scrutiny in the last couple of years. Which one, I know this one's the immediate one, right? But which one is sweeter? Obviously, you were at one, so that's huge. But of the 2, which one sits more and why?
I would have to say this one in particular, but I think they both have their own special place in my heart, if I could say that. I think one is one, and there's 1A and 1B, okay? This one, because how much we've invested in this team as a podcast at Locked On Astros and how much we followed this team through the thick and the thin. How we feel like we've really gotten behind someone like Jeremy Pena, how we've seen Justin Verlander make this comeback. And to see how much it means to the players makes it mean something, makes it seem so much more to us. but 17 still will always hold a special place in my heart. And I don't say this because I'm trying to play a victim role or think that we should have won it because of Hurricane Harvey. But a lot of people outside of Houston don't understand that before all this stuff broke, before we really knew what was going on that season for anybody in the world, this team put them on our back or put us on their back, and they won that title for us. And that year, that title meant so much personally to me because, I was at the Albert Pujols game when they were one strike away before. I mean, they eventually clinched in St. Louis and then had a horrible showing against the White Sox. But 2022 to me does mean something because people can't say shit about it. They can't say, well, but they're still doing it. Oh, 2017 is not legit. And I'm like, can you just stop already? Like, that's what losers do. Losers focus on what other people are doing. They don't focus on themselves. Like the Yankees fans, they need to focus on the fact that Aaron Judge may be a Dodger or a Giant, and their club may be falling apart. I mean, they are a shell of their former selves. And, all these other teams that keep beating the Astros, what happens to them after they win a title or beat us? They fade. They fade like the sun. And guess who stays? The Houston Astros. Boys, our championship window is open through 2027, and I'm not even shy to say that.
I'd like to say, okay, obviously Red Sox fans here and whatnot,
Yeah.
but it's getting to the point where 4 out of the last 6 years, right? And now you got to start thinking, is this the dynasty? And it really feels, I guess we're going to be an Astros podcast today, but it kind of feels that way, I mean, you literally let Springer walk, and you let Tucker take over center field. Then you let Correa walk. Don't even bat an eye. Pena comes up, and not only does he come up and have a hell of a rookie year, he wins the ALCS MVP. He wins the national. That'd be fucking incredible if he could do that.
He was that good. Yeah.
He was that good that he won the American League Championship MVP and the National League Championship MVP. No, and then he won the World Series MVP. It's that's nuts. Like Correa, Springer, you guys let these guys walk.
Yeah, I mean, Keuchel, who is the original member of this, then you had Garrett Cole, who left. I mean, you had a whole cast of characters leave. And it was just unbelievable how they continue to retool. You've got 4 pitchers where you got Jose Urquidy, Luis Garcia, Framber Valdez, and Christian Javier. They paid a combined $140,000 to sign.
That's crazy.
And now we have Hunter Brown, who looks like Justin Verlander 2.0, and who idolized Justin Verlander. You lose Michael Brantley during the season. You find out before Game 6 that Maldonado's going to have hernia surgery and has been playing with a broken hand for 3 months. Vasquez comes in, has a key hit in the game, former Red Sox. That guy, and there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people in Houston that are going, are we keeping Vasquez? Because we like this guy. I know he didn't play a whole lot. But are you keeping him? I'm like, I don't know. He may end up back in Boston.
The problem with that is, how much is Maldonado still under contract?
Yes, he's got it. He got the vested option of $5 million. The Astros took it, and so Maldonado will be back. But I think
Vasquez wants to. He doesn't want to be a backup.
Yeah. I'm just saying it would be cool to have someone like him for a full season. The Mancini trade, dude. I don't know if y'all saw this. Mancini apologized to the media, actually to the fans. He said, "Look, you guys, they traded for me to be an impact bat, and I haven't had an impact. I'm glad I was able to produce. I'm glad I was able to help out defensively because if he doesn't get that ground ball, he almost, no offense." let's just say this. He almost flubbed the ground ball like a famous Red Sox once flubbed a ground
It's
ball.
okay. It's okay.
Okay.
Buckner.
Okay, Buckner. Like he almost Buckner that ball. If that ball goes through his leg, that's 2 runs. That changes the series. I mean, that changes everything. And so that was insane the way that went down. Yuli, no telling where he's going to go. You know, he's 38 years old. Some people think he's really 48, but you know,
Check
he
that
wasn't there
birth
the last
certificate.
game. Yeah, exactly. He's probably 52. You know,
Right.
Hey, Brett, can I ask you, just because I'm not sure about roster construction here? Jeff,
Yes, sir.
It's Lunau, correct? That's
yes, yeah.
So the starting pitchers that you just mentioned, as well as Pena, how much of that? I know Tucker, I believe, is a Lunau guy, but how many of those guys are not Lunau guys?
Oh, well, all those pitchers are. I believe Pena is. I mean, Montero is a click guy.
But we're looking and seeing the bulk of what makes the Astros.
The bulk of this team is Jeff Lunau. And if you guys follow Adam Clanton or look him up on Twitter, he produces a post-game video for the Astros. And at the end of his video, like he starts out with the great clips of Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Kiki Hernandez talking about how the Astros title isn't legit. And then he goes into this montage, right? Well, the reason why I mentioned this is at the very end, he has the Astros saying, "Good morning, Houston, we're world champions." And has all these Astros. And he has James Click say, "Good morning." And then it fades out. And then he has Lunau on there. It's like, "Good morning, Houston." And behind him is a 2017 World Series championship painting in his house. I was like, oh my God, Lunau is still there. His effect is still being felt. A lot of this roster is still him. So it's kind of like, it's almost like Barry Switzer when he won a championship with the Dallas Cowboys is basically Jimmy Johnson's team. You know, it's easy to have a great steak dinner or great leftovers when you have a nice steak dinner served before. So, I mean, you know, Click has done a good job. I'm not upset at Click. I don't know why people don't like him. But a lot of this is his doing and his construction. His fingerprints are still all over this ball club.
And I mean, it comes to so often that teams that win when they change, you know, a change in the guard. Obviously, this one was for different reasons, but the success didn't start day one, right? The success started 2, 3, 4 years ago with drafting and developing, you know, and knowing who to keep and who is expendable, right? So knowing that Altuve can't go, that's where we make our large-term commitment for. But Correa, there's a number, but Altuve is the constant, you know?
I mean, Altuve, I mean, look at Bregman. There were a lot of people doubting. There were a lot of people down on him. I mean, there's a lot of Astros Nation was starting to turn on Bregman there for a while, especially last year in the playoffs when we didn't realize he was basically not playing with the top hand when he was swinging. Mm-hmm. He had to have surgery. But yeah, this team with your constants with Yordan, so they lock up Yordan, you know, to a very team friendly contract. Altuve's already said, "I want to be here the rest of my life." Bregman, I don't really see him going anywhere else. I just, some of these guys you see being an Astros uniform their whole career and taking team friendly deals. And then where's, you know, my question is, where is Verlander going to go? Do you sign him 2 for $60? He's probably got 2 more years left. But Jose Altuve is absolutely this team's catalyst. He told the media Jeremy Pena is the next superstar for the Houston Astros, and he was correct. He is definitely, he has fit the bill, and yeah, definitely with the hard hands. I mean, that kid, let me tell you, he has endeared himself. And right now, I'm working on getting him on the show in the off season. I've got a little work to do. I've been working for about 2 or 3 months on it, but I'm getting closer and closer. So hopefully he'll come visit us at Locked On Astros sometime soon.
I got to be honest with you, I would not be shocked in any way, shape, or form. They run it so well in Houston. If Verlander's not back, right, and they don't miss a freaking beat because they know when it's time, right? And the Father of Time doesn't get easier on anyone in any way, shape, or form. But I have no doubt that there's still going to be, the cream is going to rise to the top. And if they choose to move on, they're probably correct.
Exactly. And that's the thing too. You mentioned the word dynasty earlier, guys. And with this title, with 2 titles in 6 years, 6 ALCS, 4 World Series, I mean, this is about as dominating a run as you saw from the Yankees in the 1930s. And there's not been any other team that's had a more dominating run. I mean, they had one of the most successful playoff runs, 11-2 overall. And literally, it looks like why can't they go back to a 3rd straight World Series, and why can't they go back to back next year? I mean, let's just get greedy. Let's just win back to back.
You know what? We were talking about this earlier. So last year, the Houston Astros defeated the Red Sox in 6, right? And this year, you guys defeated the Phillies in 6. Brady, we can see you eating.
I knew out of respect. Come on.
So, do you know what the what am I trying to say here? Like, do you know what there's one thing that happened with both the Red Sox and the Phillies from 2021 and the Phillies in 2022. They had the exact same thing going on, and the Astros ended up beating them in 6. It's that fucking song.
What's the common denominator? Oh, you give it to him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Last year, the song was ours.
You talking about
Dancing on My Own.
Oh, yes, I saw that because they like the whole stadium was rocking it.
Yeah. So here's just a little suggestion for the team that plays the Astros next year in the ALCS, or if they end up making it into the World Series. I said the Astros will probably be in the World Series next year, but if you're playing against the Astros next year in the postseason, do not, by any means, do not play that damn song, because you're guaranteed a loss.
That's like Brad's public service announcement. That was
exactly.
Nice.
Well, here would be my public service announcement, and I probably shouldn't say this because I don't want to help anybody. Don't print shirts that say "Houston, we are a problem," which was great because when the Mariners printed that, we'll get this.
Houston.
Yeah, the Mariners print these shirts, and they literally, the people were set to get their shirts when the Astros were already into Game 3 of the ALCS. Don't say we want Houston, and then don't play the song, and just, you know what, let your team do the talking. I didn't do a whole lot of smack talk even after we ran the Yankees out of town, because I thought the Mariners were actually the better team. The Mariners actually, I thought, were the better competition than the New York Yankees. I mean, this was a team, guys, that was projected to get 120 wins. The media absolutely lost their mind, and it was like a kid in a candy store. Oh my God, the Yankees are relevant again. I'm like, no, they're not. Like, the Yankees officially have not been the standard for the American League since 2009. Let's just get one thing perfectly clear. The A in American League stands for Astros, and this is the Astros League. Sorry, Boston. Sorry, New York. Sorry, any other American League team that has a consonant or a vowel in their name. The Houston Astros absolutely run this shit, number one. We steamrolled the Phillies. They were supposed to surprise us. NL East dynasty my ass. And so
I wouldn't go so far as saying steamrolled.
Look, I'm just saying, dude. The Phillies were supposed to come to Houston and take Game 6 and 7 because we were going to get Schwarber-bombed out of it. Or, I don't know, Bryce Harper was like going to do the little twist with his hips. And
you didn't realize that Schwarber was going to bunt.
Oh, well, I think Schwarber bunted because I think he bet the under on the game. I'm pretty sure he had a lot of money on the line. Why the hell do you bunt with 2 strikes? You're in the World Series. Like you're supposed to be from Philadelphia. You're supposed to be, something in the water's different around here. Like you're supposed to be tough, like Angelo's, pizza or Philly cheesesteaks, or I don't know, like whatever, like Philadelphia strong or whatever they call it. Ring the bell. Like, dude.
Ring my bell.
Did you hear Lance McCullers' speech after the win?
Honestly, I'm going to be dead honest with you. So I watched the only 2 games I actually watched were the games where the Phillies won.
Okay.
So I put it in my head and I was like, I got to not what, because I wanted the Astros to win. And I was like, I can't watch the games. I can't,
Okay.
I'll look at the scores and stuff the next morning and whatnot, but I just couldn't watch the games because that's how I am. I'm superstitious. Like,
I hear you.
If I'm wearing these socks today and my team wins, I'm wearing those socks the next time they play. If I'm wearing these socks today and they lose, I'm never going to fucking wear those socks again.
Well, get this. My son and I, every playoff game we've attended together, the Astros are undefeated since 2015. We were at World Series Game 2 last year. He was at ALDS Game 2 with me, ALCS Game 1 this year. 2015, he was with me when they beat the Royals at Minute Maid Park. I mean, so we've got a pretty good record. A friend of mine, him and his sons, every playoff game they've been to together. So next year we got to keep this stuff going. So I had the pleasure of, we have a fan of our show who lives in College Station, Texas, which is where Texas A&M is, and he can't make it to every game. And throughout the year, he's given us tickets to give away or for Eric and I to go. And he offered us playoff tickets to each round for face value. He didn't overcharge us. The tickets we paid for 2 tickets, $600 for both of them combined. Those tickets were going for well over $1,000 a piece. And we got to see the trophy. We got to see Dusty Baker go, "How about the Astros?" And then Dusty was like, they're like, "What's next?" He goes, "You know what's next? We're going to party." This guy was going to turn it up, but Lance McCullers in that locker room said, he went on his tirade. When you get Lance fired up, dude, he's like me. He doesn't back down. He's like, we went up to the Electric City. We basically shut that crap down. We went up to the Northeast. We showed them who the effing beast were. And then he goes, and then they wanted a Red October, and we left them in a pool of blood. We rang that effing bell. He's like, we're World Series champions. It was beautiful. Hector Neris coming over here from the Phillies organization. Hector Neris is a fireball. You've got Montero. You got Stanek, who wasn't even hardly used, who set an ERA record during the regular season for the Houston Astros. Wasn't even used that much because Dusty wanted his Abreu, who is a stud. Brian Abreu, this kid, so many teams have tried to trade him or get him in a trade. The Astros are like, no, we're going to keep him. They still think he has rotation stuff. I think as a future closer after Presley, Presley's got a couple more years with us at least. But there's no quitting this team. Luna was here. We didn't have one of the top farm systems. We still don't, but we're still pumping out guys. And then Chas McCormick, probably the catch of the Astros franchise history.
I want to say one of my favorite hits of the season too. Garrett Cole going, I got you, and then immediately he gives up the bomb to McCormick.
Oh man, that was beautiful. Chas McCormick. So this is cool. So I don't know if y'all have heard of this Chas Chomp cheer, but there's a guy who actually lives in the same town I live in. He started this Chas Chomp, and he just does his hands kind of like the Florida Gators that do, and he just goes Chas. Well, at first he's getting a lot of crap from people like, that's a dumb cheer, blah blah. Well, he kept it up. Well, during the playoffs, it caught on, and Chas McCormick, after he hit a big home run in one of the playoff games, he said he heard that cheer. When he hears that cheer, it fires him up. So this guy goes, in the next playoff game he goes to, he comes to Minute Maid Park with an alligator costume, an alligator onesie, and his son is what he calls Little Chomp. Jacob comes in there with them, and they're doing this Chas Chomp, and we actually interviewed him, just like some little YouTube short videos for our channel. But this guy's an intermediate school teacher. He started a craze. Someone from the Astros got him hooked up with tickets to the World Series. He had tickets to Game 6 that someone just gave him to him randomly. And this guy started a craze. He met Chas McCormick's brother. He met Chas McCormick's whole family. And everybody got behind it. We got so many things happening. A friend of mine, Mark Drew, who did a parody, who's getting a lot of crap from like Barstool Phillies. And I'll tag y'all on some of his stuff. He's had the Astros talk to him and stuff, and I can't reveal the stuff he told me, but you may or may not see him tomorrow during the parade for the Houston Astros, and we're going to be down there. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a lot of people. HISD, no school. Now I don't teach in HISD, but that just means the crowd got 10 times bigger. It's going to be a party down there in Houston.
Oh, hey, Brett, can I ask you a two-part question here?
Yeah, go ahead.
First one is, which fan base is giving you more shit, Dodgers or Yankees?
They're both insufferable pricks for the most part. I mean,
But if you had to pick, though, if I had to
pick, it would be the Dodgers. I mean, you know, they're elitist West Coast kind of. You know, they think the crap doesn't stink. The Yankees are more blue collar, right? Like the Yankees will give you crap, but if you throw it back at them in the right way, they actually respect you for it.
Okay.
But the Dodgers will like send you a picture of the Joe Kelly mural. Like who has a mural of a relief pitcher poking his lip out like a baby? Only in LA. Only in LA. I'm starting to fake ass people out there.
So that makes sense to my follow-up question then.
Yeah.
Did it take anything at all away from the championship that if you could have beaten the Yankees and then played the Dodgers in the World Series, would that have been scripted even better yet?
Oh yeah. I mean, you know, let's just be honest. Dodgers, y'all suck. Like, how did you not get to the World Series and you won like 180,000 games and you couldn't even make it to the World Series? You jamokes, like 2020 60-game World Championship. That's what you hang over our heads? Bunch of freaking losers. Dude, like, yes, I wanted the Dodgers. I had picked
Me
the
too.
Mets. I had picked the Mets preseason just because I thought they tooled up that way, and I just thought it would be hard to beat that team. But of course, the Mets went out and did the New York Mets thing, and they just disappointed. But man, yes, I would have loved to have beat the Dodgers again because it would have been great to beat New York than to beat LA.
Mm-hmm.
Because in 17, you know, we beat New York, we beat Boston, we beat LA. It was like, boom, we beat the big cities. We beat the big kids on the block, you know, and then of course everybody, you know, it's illegitimized, blah, blah, blah. But yes, that would have been a perfect ending because look, there was a while there. There's no reason why the LA Dodgers should not have been in the World Series, and they are their own worst enemy. And I don't know if maybe Dave Roberts did Dave Roberts things. I think somewhere along the way, I think he mismanaged them in the playoffs. But then again, you know, it's the evils of the expanded playoffs, right? Like you don't have to be great in the regular season. You just got to get hot in October, and it could be it's anybody's game, you know.
So, you got it, Brad? Go ahead.
Oh no!
Oh no! I was just about to say I was the entire time I was like I want Dodgers Astros. Like when I found out when I realized that the Red Sox weren't going to be in the playoffs because they sucked.
Yeah, when did that occur? Was it May 1st or June 1st?
I think it was like July 1st.
Okay.
I was just like, I want Astros Dodgers, and I just want the Astro Dodgers anyways because I want chaos.
Oh yeah, I mean it would have been, but you know, honestly, they had so many injuries with their pitching. We would have heard the excuses. There would have been all the excuses in the book. Well, you know, you beat us in 17 because we're cheating. You beat us in 2022 because we're injured. Like it's never enough. Like
you're right.
You know, it just. I mean, okay, Mickey Mouse title. You know, Trevor Bauer, whatever. I mean, come on. Like, do I need to keep going? I mean, and then the Dodgers are.
That's a name I haven't heard of forever.
Oh my gosh! I mean, sorry. You know, he is forever tied to Dodgers lure. You know. Shame on them. I mean, good for them. But the Houston Astros, though, man, like the thing I love about this team, guys, is
They're
you've already get
champions.
well, A, they're champions. B, they're already saying, like Alex Bregman said last night, I can't wait to get to spring training. Like they're still hungry. They still want more. And that is a testament to the kind of work and the kind of work ethic that this team has from top to bottom.
I do wonder when I'm hearing you say it, and only time will really tell, right? They had a legitimate chip on their shoulder
Yes.
since, right? So I really do think you got a team like us against the world mentality, and it was there. Next year is, I think, going to be a different test than they've had before, because now there really isn't a whole lot you can say. I mean, it feels a little bit like the '07 Red Sox winning a World Series, that it wasn't one and done, but actually they're just kind of really good now, right? Like it takes that away. This is nothing about 17. This team is built to be a winner. They're the cream of the crop every year. American League, the road to the World Series leads through Houston now. That's undeniable.
See, I felt going into this World Series, honestly, that the Phillies had more pressure on them because the Astros, get this, the Astros were expected to get beat because this was an NL East team. The Astros were expected to lose because they're not cheating. The Astros were expected to fail because, yeah, they can get to a World Series, but they can't finish it off since 17. And I really think the Phillies came in so hot, a team of destiny. They were hitting home runs. They were scoring at an unbelievable clip that, to me, like I really thought squarely the pressure was more on the Phillies because now the Phillies relievers and starters and guys have to come through against the Astros, where the Astros, okay, well, yeah, the pressure to perform was more on the Phillies because you knew what the Astros had. But then the expectations were, and everybody was saying it, but they weren't thinking. I mean, they were thinking it, but they weren't saying it. They're going to lose. They're going to do what they did against the Braves. They're going to do what they did against the Nationals.
Hold
And
on, hold on.
yeah,
You guys are good, man. You're real good. You got that mentality of, it is the us against the world thing.
no, it
I
is.
gotta
It
be
is.
honest. There is not a baseball fan that I know that legitimately thought that the Phillies really were the expected to win
No,
team.
right,
Like
right.
the
No,
Phillies were hot. They were whatever, but that happens every year in the postseason. The Astros roster compared to the Phillies, they're incomparable, right? Like that's a
exactly.
full roster. You have a manager who's a legitimate manager as opposed to Rob Thompson, who got it because because Joe Girardi wasn't hacking
Right.
it, right? Your team is legitimately really, really good. And the Phillies had a puncher's chance just because the simple thing was Bryce Harper's really good and Kyle Schwarber's a postseason, he's a big boy in the postseason. But the Astros are the
Except when he
cream.
goes to bunt.
That's not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, your
Well,
slowest
right.
runner should not bunt.
Well, I guess. Okay, so I've tried to explain it to someone the other day, and they like I don't know if my message or the way I'm communicating my message is wrong, but I just felt like everybody was expecting Houston to come up short, I guess is what I'm saying. In that
I'll
the
be honest with you. With everything that happened with Verlander in game one, and he lost,
yeah,
and then like everything, 25 years, Dusty hasn't won a chip. So it's like you have that in the back of your mind, and you're just like, "Fuck, dude." And like the other day, what was it? Was it Friday or Thursday or whatever? When did Verlander pitch last? Thursday.
Verlander pitched last on, yes, it was game 5. Yes, it was Thursday.
So you automatically assumed that he was going to end up losing that game too, and then he ends up winning it.
Yeah, he came out, he got the monkey off his back. But yes, to your point, Brady, I guess I don't know, like I'm not necessarily getting it confused saying that the Astros weren't necessarily the team to beat. I just felt like from a mental standpoint that there were a lot of people that really maybe they weren't convinced that the Astros were going to lose, but they were like, we've kind of seen this story before. And I know there were people in Houston that were worried too. they were like, golly, like we have home field advantage again. We're playing another NL East team. But I kept telling people, but this team's different. You look at the bullpen compared to 19 and 21. You look at the lineup 20 or 19, 21, and 22. You have a healthy Bregman. You have healthy McCullers, healthy Verlander. You have all those pieces in 21. We're maybe talking about 2 titles in a row, but we didn't have that. But this team did put their stamp not only on Houston Astros history, but I think baseball history. I think this is probably one of the greatest teams ever assembled top to bottom.
Well, I know you're flying high, but for sure, if I was in your shoes, I'd be saying, very similar thing. It's hard to argue with the postseason dominance, that they exhibited, this postseason, that they're constructed the way every team wants to build themselves after. Which just brings me to the thing I wanted to bring up to you, that I'm a huge believer in the following thing, and one player on your roster just quadrupled down on my belief. Ryan Pressly is a legitimate shutdown postseason closer. And the difference between a guy like Pressly and just other closers is the reason why you're a champion. He had such a big stamp to come in because not all innings are built equally. People who just like to stare at stat sheets, they just plug in relievers. It doesn't work that way. You got to have a big set of balls to come in some spots that he does, to pitch when your arm hurts and to pitch productively and get outs. They pay Ryan Pressly a lot of money compared to where they spend other stuff. And he just showed time and time again this postseason why it's important. How do you feel about Ryan Pressly coming out of the bullpen as your closer?
He has put together one of the most dominating performances we've seen. I mean, and I'm talking about guys like Rivera, the great closers that generations later will talk about. If you know anything about baseball, you'll mention Ryan Pressly, I think, in the breath with some of the greatest closers in playoff history. When Ryan Pressly comes out on the mound at Minute Maid Park, they've got the LEDs flowing. They got the Johnny Cash music. They got the cell phone lights going. It's an absolute – I haven't seen an atmosphere like this since Brad Lidge, pre-Albert Pujols home run Brad Lidge, like lights out Lidge. They would shut the lights down. You get the fire on the banner screens, and then like some heavy metal playing, and you get all jazzed up. But this is a slow Johnny Cash song. It's been a long time, and this whole Southern Texas country vibe coming out. And what's great about Pressly is he's not your flamethrower. And I think a lot of people have taken time to get used to Pressly because he doesn't throw 101. He's not like your Edwin Diaz, right? Who's going to come out and throw triple digits every pitch. But it's his effectiveness, his ability to spin the ball. It's his ability to fool the batter enough that even when a ball is 6 inches off the plate, they're swinging out of their shoes to try to catch up to it. And he literally has been nails. There's a case to be made that maybe Ryan Pressly should have been co-MVP or MVP of this World Series, because without him, they don't have these wins.
No, I couldn't agree more. He came in the other night in Philadelphia in a big boy spot looking for multiple outs, right? Which is, you got to sit between innings. That's not normal. No problem. But he doesn't give in. Everything is off the plate, low. Nothing is over the middle of the plate. Yep. And you've got to guess right or you're fucked. And the spoiler alert, they're fucked, right? Like, that's it. Like, he's that good. And it's like, it's just, for me, as a huge proponent of a lockdown closer, to see it, I'm not saying the Phillies lost because spoiler alert, they didn't have a lockdown closer.
Right.
But even if they
David Robertson?
He was banged up. In fairness, he wasn't really healthy, and I can't say a 38-year-old David Robertson is even comparable to Ryan. Maybe 10 years ago, but not today. Right?
Well, what did you guys think of that move to pull Wheeler and to put Alvarado in that spot, and then Alvarado absolutely just piped that ball down the middle of the plate. Then Yordan Alvarez, dude, he hit that ball I was at Jeremy Pena's first career walk-off where he hit the ball to dead center field, and it barely cleared the wall, and that was a laser. This ball, I thought was going to
450, right?
Yeah, 450. I thought it was going to go out of the stadium. It was the second longest home run in Astros history in Minute Maid Park. The guy that caught the ball was offered $100,000 from another fan, and he said, "No, I'm holding on to this one." I'm like, "Why are you holding on to that?
It's a baseball.
Sell it, bro. Sell that."
What was that now? Was that probably the third time through the lineup? Probably at that point?
Yes, that is. But
here's the thing, man.
Yeah.
Yordan Alvarez he's phenomenal, right? There's no he's phenomenal. How many times can you ask a pitcher to play with fire, right? So it always looks terrible afterwards. And Wheeler didn't look so hot his first start. Looked much better this time, out of the shoot. But you can only go after the bear that many times, right?
That's true. Well, I just think because Wheeler was using the inside portion of the plate, because early, if you remember, he did strike out Yordan on an inside pitch, and I don't know. Look, Yordan has the ability to look at pitches, to see pitches, to take walks. But my thing is, if you're going to throw to Yordan and your first pitch isn't super effective, why don't you just walk him?
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you just walk him? I mean, why would you ever pitch to Yordan Alvarez? Now, this is what's interesting about that home run.
Yordan Big Papi Alvarez?
Exactly. It was Yordan's it was only Yordan's third home run. Well, here's the thing. I'll get to that in a second. It was Yordan's third home run of the postseason. It was his first since ALDS Game 2. He didn't hit a home run in the ALCS. That was his first home run since Game 2 of the ALDS. And so they had done a pretty good job of keeping him in the park. But Alvarado, I think, is he's just prone to that because he throws smoke, and that ball just leaks over the plate a little too much for him. And so, are we doing a Yordan and Diaz, like a Ortiz comparison? Is that what we're trying to not get into?
Because respectfully.
Well,
David Ortiz has never been to a World Series and not won. Respectfully, 3 for 3. Like some of the things that they're not real. They're superhuman. The team's down. I'm calling a huddle. Let's all get together, and then we score 5 runs, right? Like there's things that he's now. Yordan might get there, right? And I think he's this generation's Big Papi. Right. And
See, I think where Yordan Alvarez may ultimately, now I'm talking about over career. I'm not saying now because give Ortiz his respect, Hall of Famer. When you go to his career, and if Yordan's able to continue to play the outfield and not just DH, but play DH, play the outfield, gun runners down, chase balls down, help out on the base paths, I think Yordan's probably one of the most complete hitters of this generation because he can hit all parts of the field, right? He can go opposite field. He can go dead center. He can pull. But his ability to throw, I mean, he saved games this year by throwing runners out at home. He saved games he's not a great fielder, but when he gets to the ball, like he's going to gun you down at home or at third or at second. So I think they might be two different players. I think Ortiz, because how early in his career did he move from first base to DH? I mean, how many years?
He was only in the league for about 4 years, really, used as a part-time player, first baseman. Came over to Boston, 2003. Wasn't really inserted into the lineup as a mainstay until about halfway through the year, and then just said, I'm going to hit the fuck out of baseballs if that's okay. And then from that point, ironically, when he would play in the World Series, he'd play first base. 2007, Big Papi makes a double play at first base where he guns a runner out of third base and makes an amazing play. So Papi physically had the bad Achilles, right? It
that's
really,
what it was.
You're playing with fire. In fact, he always said after his career, he could have played more if it wasn't for his feet, more than anything else. Physically, he was still in good shape. But when you can't run, you can't play baseball. And Alvarez is something really special. Like you look at him and you just can see like he's the soul, right? You know, like Altuve's
Yeah.
there, just like Manny. You know, you can't do it by yourself. But I don't blame Thompson for taking out Wheeler at all,
Right.
because if he leaves him in, you can only fool a hitter like that so many times. You should have
No, that's
walked him.
true. That's true. And you know, hindsight's always 20/20, right?
Yeah.
And we know the game. If the manager makes a move and it works, he's a genius. If the
Got it.
manager makes a move and it doesn't work, oh, he's an idiot, fire him. I mean, we literally had people saying fire Dusty after game 1 of the World Series because he left, because he left him in there. Or when McCullers went out there and gave up the 5 home runs, which no pitcher's done in like World Series history. Fire Dusty. And I'm like, quit with this. Like the answer to fixing a problem is not firing anybody.
You know how many times we hear fire Cora or fire Bloom?
I know, right? It's just like, come on, man. Like,
do you have the burners out there, the Twitter burners that are like, the names are like, it has Click, and then it's like Click with clown makeup on, or Dusty Baker with clown makeup on? Because we've got like hundreds of those.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I think we do. I know. I don't have any burner accounts. I've got so many social media accounts that I run on my own. I don't have time to have a burner, but yeah, there's different burners. We have Dusty Baker's burner, and there's been a couple that I can't remember what they were called, but they had some really good content, because it would be like, basically like, it was like Dusty Baker, and he'd be like, F you, I don't care what you say, or something. But Dusty Baker's grown on us, and he's been tough to follow at times, because we didn't understand roster construction. We didn't understand pitch usage. We felt like sometimes he sailed it in a little bit, kind of like it seemed like the team maybe gave up here or there. You're talking about like, we were trying to micromanage Dusty, like every little move we were scrutinizing, right? But over time, the more you hear about what the players say, the more you see the production of the team. It's hard to argue with the product when the product's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting a great meal and then writing a 1-star review, and it's like, why are you doing that? That was a 5-star meal, Dusty just does his thing. We've talked to Clay Hensley, who was managed by him when he was in San Francisco as a pitcher. We've talked to players that have run into Dusty. We had Joey Luperfido, a Duke kid from he's playing in the Astros minor league system. Sorry, that's my son. My son's calling me.
How ironic is it that you have that? Is that on purpose?
No, that was not on purpose. My son's ringtone has always been the Rocky theme, because it's kind of an ongoing joke with him and I, because
it like
he thinks
it was an on purpose one, because Philly, Rocky.
Well, hold on one second.
Oh, he's got the Ryan Brady thing going on, like someone's talking to him.
Yep, he's multitasking. That's all right.
Yes.
Multitasking.
But no, that was definitely hilarious as shit. With the Astros playing the Phillies, and then all this, he's like, bam, 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 bam.
So my son. So I had my son. So my son's watched my 3 favorite movies of all time with me: Rocky IV, Karate Kid, and Top Gun. Okay.
Hell yeah.
But when I showed him Rocky IV at the age of like 6 or 7, he thought all Russians were like communists and bad guys and horrible people. And so he's got like this poor, like he's got this old 1980s Cold War mentality for all Russians. So, but I'm like, that's how I know my son's calling me. It's the Rocky theme. My dad and I went to the movies to see that, Rocky IV, we're airboxing at the screen, and my son and I kind of had that same little thing going. But yeah, he's my little fighter. And so that's just kind of one of those things. I actually had that theme go off during one of our shows, and I answered the phone, I'm like, hello. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Phillies fans? You showed up for the first few shows. We haven't seen you on the show lately. Oh, that's okay. You called in sick. All right, well, you can stay home the rest of the time, because Phillies fans were crushing our show. They were all over the comments. And then after we went up 3-2, like they disappeared.
Oh yeah.
Of course
Oh yeah.
they did.
They
That's
were like,
exactly what happened. That's what
yeah.
happens.
They
Man.
were like, you don't even know this guy's never been to Philly before. He's never even seen our crowd. I'm like, because I literally tweeted out and it got a lot of run. I was like, so hold on. So your intimidation to us is your crowd. So you're pimping your crowd, but you're not pimping Harper or Schwerber or Wheeler. You're not bragging on your team. You're bragging on your crowd. Like,
Listen,
how weak is that, bro?
you're right, but here's the problem. They're a little right too, because I've been in Fenway when the Phillies come, and it's no longer Fenway Park anymore. They travel fucking
Yeah.
well.
I will say, so I don't know if you guys have been to Citizens Bank Park. I
No,
went to Citizens Bank Park back in 2019, and I was going to watch Eduardo Rodriguez win his 20th game, but we know who blew that save.
thank you, Mr. Barnes.
So the entire game, like we had Mitch Moreland. He was known as Mitchy Two Bags. There were some Red Sox fans there, but I was around a bunch of Philly fans. And I just kept going, like Mitch Moreland would hit like a double or whatever. I'm like, Mitchy Two Bags, let's go. And then like he gets back up and he strikes out, and the guy turns around and he's like, Mitchy No Bags. And everybody's like, yeah. It's like it was funny because they were like heckling me. They were kind of assholes, whatever.
Right.
They weren't nearly as bad as like Yankee fans were, but they were a special breed.
Yeah, so most of the Phillies fans that I interacted with at the stadium before game and during the game were really cool. There were these three guys I talked about on the show last night that they were like, when Altuve struck out, they were yelling cheater, cheater, and that just pisses me off when people do that. Like, you come to our house and you say that to Altuve, don't disrespect Altuve, number one. Number two, when they honored the World War II veterans, and this isn't all Phillies fans, so if someone's watching this and they're a Phillies fan, I would think this is like 0.03% of your fan base, these three guys. Now, two of the guys were twins. They were wearing matching jumpsuits. They had slick back hair. They looked like they had been kicked out of Jersey, like they were from Jersey Shore, but they were from Philadelphia. And then the other guy, I don't know what his deal was, but when they honored the veterans in the stadium, those three jamokes just sat there. They didn't even stand up and honor them. And I went over there, dude, when Jordan hit that home run, I was like, F Philly. And I gave him double rods. And I was like, you can't even stand. I was like, you can't even stand up for the military, but you call Altuve a cheater. I'm like, F Philadelphia, F the Phillies. And he was like, okay, all right. Like, he took it, but I was just like, that just pissed me off. Like, when you're that disrespectful towards our military, and then you want to yell, I'm just like, but I didn't have any bad interactions with them. Most of the people I met, they were, we welcome any fans to Houston. We love people coming from out of town.
I actually have a story for you. I don't know if I've told you this. I know I've had you on since last year, but so last year I went to a Red Sox Toronto Blue Jays game, and Springer's in center field, and I believe it was Lourdes Gurriel Jr. He was in right field, and I was sitting on the monster, and there was these two guys that were yelling cheaters to both Springer and Lourdes Gurriel, and I was like, I just turned around, I looked over at him, I was like, I'll give you Springer, whatever, you say what you want about him. But he never played for the Astros. And talking about Lourdes, I'm like, he never played for. Yeah, he did. He was the first baseman. No, nope, that's his brother. And these two kids just looked like the biggest assholes, and they were like getting on their phones, like checking about it and whatnot. And I was like, and also, if you're gonna talk shit about that, we have Marwin Gonzalez and Alex Cora as our manager. So shut the fuck up.
Oh yeah, it's people are so like these are the same people that you send them an article with a salacious headline and they don't read the article but they share it. They're like, you can't believe what this guy says in the article. They haven't read it. And at the end of the day, we know people are still going to do their thing. People are always going to detract from the truth and the facts. But one thing you can't deny is that the 2022 Astros have a legit title, that the Houston Astros have a legit title under their belt. And whether someone says we have one or two in Houston, we don't give a crap. It's like the lady on air here in Houston, Channel 2, asked the guys, she goes, what do you want to say to all the people that have been hating us for the last couple of years? What's your message to them? And he's like, fuck you. Live on air.
Hey,
And
Brad,
everybody's like, yeah.
I got one more for you here.
Yeah.
First off, I agree. Fuck off, because if you find me a baseball team that's not cheating in some way, shape, or form, they're probably in last place. So let's shut up. Like, just shut up. Like, I don't care if it's an Apple Watch or if it's a, like, whatever. Just stop. Just stop. Right. So my question is this one is, you're talking about Dusty, and I'm thinking of one guy and one guy only. I'm thinking of AJ Hinch, right? What do you think AJ Hinch? Because just like Luhnow he does deserve credit. Luhnow today is not. I mean, from most of baseball, maybe people in Houston are really tight, but most people aren't even thinking about Luhnow. Good job, man, because your fingerprints are all over the place.
Yeah.
AJ Hinch, he's there developing guys like Tucker, right? You know, like guys that have developed in the roles. Do you think? How do you think Hinch is feeling today, and how do you feel about AJ Hinch?
I mean, I love AJ Hinch. I think AJ Hinch will always be an Astros legend. I mean, he is the guy that we felt really did a great job. His first successful run as a manager with a team and takes them all the way to the top. You know, and a lot of people forget there were a lot of things that AJ Hinch did that people questioned and people didn't like. I mean, the whole Garrett Cole thing, the whole just, you know, he had, I think one season, 135 or 140 different lineup constructions in one season. And, you know, he would pull guys too soon, or he wouldn't leave a guy in enough or whatever. And so there was plenty of bickering when he was here. Of course, winning cures everything, right? I think AJ Hinch really still has a connection with these players. I mean, he lives in the Woodlands, which is north of Houston. He is a Houston resident still, even though he's in Detroit. But the guy can walk into a bar or a restaurant anywhere, and I guarantee you the manager would comp his meal just because of what he means to the city. I think the players still hold him close and dear. I know him and Correa are still real close. But there are fans who still fantasize him coming back. He's not coming back ever. He won't be the manager here again. But you know, I wonder how much. What I wonder is, what is his relationship with Jim Crane? Because I know him and Crane have talked, and I wonder how much of Crane letting go of him and Luhnow was forced by the league behind the scenes.
I think a whole hell of a lot.
I think that's what they're like. Look, we're not going to suspend the players. We're not going to vacate the title. But somebody's got to go. Like, there's got to be some seismic shift in your organization outside. And I'd have been like, hold on, seismic shift. You're taking the next 2 years, the first 2-round draft picks from us. That's pretty seismic. But they had to do something. And I think I'm wondering what that conversation was like. Did Crane say, look, boys, this is something I got to do. I don't want to do it, but publicly, I've got to be like, you're out. And this is unacceptable. And, you know, he let him go.
I think MLB definitely had a hand in that.
Yeah. So
same with Cora.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there is no reason. There's no way you're convinced they never wanted Cora to go. Right. Mm-hmm. The difference was the stink wasn't as strong, so you could let 2020 go by and bring him back. And with the Astros, they just felt the ownership, you know, it's probably underhand, under the table. We're not going to go further with punishments. We're not going to do this if you agree to this. And it sucks because, again, you tell me that the Mets aren't trying something. You tell me the Padres aren't trying something. You don't get to the postseason where every professional baseball player, they're all elite, talented players. They're all trying to get ahead. I'm happy for the city of Houston. I'm happy for Astros fans, because the truth is, it's ridiculous. It's like crying when another team's player gets popped with steroids and assuming that you have none on your roster that aren't doing it. Shut up. We just don't know who it is. The Astros went in. had more scrutiny than any team in the postseason. They showed up. They shut them up. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, and look, I mean, we respected the Phillies when they came in. We knew we had to play ball. We knew we had to show up. They weren't going to roll over. I mean, even though we swept the Mariners and the Yankees, you still have to play 9 innings.
Thanks for that, by the way. Thank you for that. You just did us a real solid. Get rid of the Yankees in 4. That was thank you.
You know what? We root for 2 teams in this house: the Astros and whoever's playing the Yankees. So
God bless.
We hate the Yankees. Like,
who do you hate more? Do you hate the Yankees or the Dodgers?
We already asked that.
No, you didn't ask who he hated. You said, who gives him more shit.
All right, fair enough.
Well, I don't know. Like, it's hard to hate teams that you dominate in the playoffs.
I mean, well, you hate the Yankees.
Yes. Well, true. But yes,
I love that. There was a picture. I don't know if you posted it or if it was someone else who posted it, but I saw a picture. It was like someone put up a Daddy Yankee.
Yeah,
the vocalist or whatever, and then Jose Altuve, and then the Yankees daddy.
Right. now, okay, get this, and I'll wrap up my portion of the show with this. Go look at the Houston Astros logo construction for the World Series championship. They trolled the Texas Rangers in the World Championship logo. There is a state of Texas in the World Series logo, okay? And it's not on my banner behind me, but if you look at the logo on the website or on Twitter, okay, there's like 11 stars for the 11 wins, and then there's one state of Texas, and the state of Texas is the only Major League Baseball team in Texas to win a World Series title. They trolled the Texas Rangers in their World Championship. The Astros social media team has been phenomenal, and the legend has it that Lance McCullers may actually run Astros Twitter account because it is savage, just like Lance. Everyone's like, yeah, Lance is definitely running the Astros Twitter account. Gotta be.
All right, Brett. Let everybody know where they can find you. They can find your show.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So I'm at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter, Instagram, and now TikTok. That's right. I'm lit, fam, like the kids would say. No cap. And then you can find the show at Locked On Astros on YouTube. Subscribe to us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on TikTok. Check us out. Here in the next week or two, we'll have Ryan Stanek back on. We're working on Jeremy Pena coming on the show. And we've got some other people from the TV production side of the Houston Astros hopefully coming on. And we'll just be breaking some things down. What's the road look like going forward? Follow my co-host Eric Talk Stros as well on Twitter. And, check us out. Even if you're a Boston Red Sox fan, we welcome you. If truth needs to be out there, growing up, the Red Sox were my AL team when I was growing up. It's just something about
a lot of people forget that the Astros
Roger
were a
Clemens
National
and those
League
guys.
team.
Yes, we were a National League team. The Red Sox were my AL team. I mean, I was a big McGuire fan, but I wasn't necessarily an Oakland fan. I was more a McGuire fan. But man, the Red Sox, they were just fun to watch, and they just kind of this cool team, gritty, dirty, hairy team that you like. Those cats are cool over there in Boston, and that in the Green Monster. Like who can hate the Green Monster, right? So. Thank y'all for having me on, guys. Y'all do a great job too.
Absolutely love having you on. We'll definitely be paying attention. Want to hear the Jeremy Pena. Hopefully you get that soon. You got to hit me up. Let me know when that's going on.
Yes.
Because I'll support you guys and retweet and whatnot with that as well. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. Brady, you got anything else?
Just congrats, man. Enjoy it.
Thanks.
It's awesome. You got the whole winter. Enjoy it. And unfortunately, I don't think your team's going anywhere anytime soon. So, but enjoy. Well deserved.
Appreciate it.
Are you going to the parade?
Yes, my son and I are going to the parade. I have no idea. After our show, I do here in a little bit. I've got to figure out my plan. I've got to figure out if I'm going to take Metro in, where I'm going to place myself, if I'm going to wait by City Hall where they talk and where they do those speeches or what. So it'll be a hot, muggy day tomorrow in South Texas, but it'll be worth it. We're both skipping school.
Well,
Awesome.
Have fun, man. Everybody else, take it easy.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Pesky Report. Make sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.